Been amazing, honestly. We hadn't done such an extensive headlining UK tour in a long time. I can't even think, maybe 17 or 16 or something. Last time we were here before that, doing more than one date was with Bowling for Soup in 2020, right before the pandemic. Literally our last tour ever before the whole world shut down. So to be able to come back has been great, and to play these kind of rooms, uh, it's been it's been phenomenal. I mean, we've never played such a big venue in Manchester. We Glasgow was, probably one of the biggest show we ever done. And obviously in London, this is the biggest UK headline show we've ever done in our whole career. So, to play this kind of legendary venue and to have it, be sold out months in advance it's like you can't ask for anything better. It's been really great. Yeah, 100%. It's been great. I mean, we've did the UK and all of Europe. So we've been a month or 5 weeks on the road together. State Chance, we had toured with them extensively before. So great friend of ours, Mayday Parade. We obviously knew of them. We had done some shows, but didn't know them that well yet. So now we've become amazing friends. And that's the whole idea right now is to, I think people want value when they go out and they spend their hard-earned money for a gig. We don't take it for granted, and we want to give them a night where they you know by the moment they walk into the door, they're entertained from the moment that they walk into the moment that they leave. And that's the whole idea. You hear songs all night long. All these bands have like big songs that people love, and you come to a gig and you feel like, all right, like I'm really getting a full evening of great, pop punk or whatever you want to call it, great rock bands, playing. And I think that's really part of what we're actively trying to do everywhere we go in the world. And obviously in the UK, I think there's these bands that are really meaningful and they bring a lot to the lineup. And I think that fans, they remember that, they look at that and they go like, I have to be there. This might never happen again. Like all these bands together. So I think that's what we're trying to do with our touring right now. The last time we did our tour with Avril, it was our first arena tour back in 2004, 2003 actually. I'm sorry, and then some more in 2004. We went to Asia, to Japan with her. We did all the US. We did some UK as well back then. So it only took 20 years for it to happen again. So that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. Is like trying to create like this event that you can't miss. That is like, oh, this feels special. This doesn't feel like your regular gig that's coming around every week or whatever. There's something like, there's an intangible magic to it. There's something that feels like, I don't know, for people, like, it's interesting, this tour, but talking to people and like, yeah, I've traveled you know from the US, from Canada, from the rest of Europe. Like, I've traveled from Asia. We have people from Singapore. We had flying in because they're like, I need to see this. I need to see you guys. I need to see these bands, this whole bill. So it creates this special evening that people want to be a part of. And obviously Avril, that's going to be special. And it's kind of like, it's like a trip down memory lane for us. It's a full circle kind of moment, and it's really cool, to be honest, to see how the two of us as artists have survived 25 years in the music world, the music industry, are still here, and I would dare to say, like, are more relevant than ever, and are probably getting bigger and more popular than in our entire career, which is it's kind of wild to think about that, and it's kind of really exciting, to have that longevity, but to feel like you're not just stagnating, or you're not just kind of managing the decline of a band. You're on the upswing. You're on this kind of sort of like this big ascending moment, and it's I think the whole style of music in general, pop punk, is getting obviously bigger. There is like this resurgence, but there's also more respect for all the bands that have made it until now, that have survived, that have not like broken up or on the hiatus or whatever. They're still like out there putting in the work and doing it. And same thing with Avril. When we started out in 2002 and three, I think it was tough for her. And now you look back, and 20 years later, there's nobody knocking her at all. She's almost like the coolest thing. And it's funny how time does that for a band like us, for Avril, for Blink, for all these bands that I think now more than ever, they've never been more respected and kind of appreciated. So it's kind of it's cool to see that. Yeah, it was special in Las Vegas, to to see that kind of, it was, there was so many bands you could choose from, right? I mean, we were playing against like 30 Seconds to Mars, which are a major band, and you never know how it's going to turn out, and you always have that a little bit of, no matter how long you've been around, you can like you can pretend you don't, but you always have that little anxiety, a little like nervousness of like, are people going to care? Are people still going to like it? And I've talked to so many people there and walking around and fans, and they were, a lot of them were telling me like, man, you guys were the best set of the day. And at first you don't really buy that. You're like, kind of like, okay, come on, like there was Blink and Green Day and all these bands, and then like you hear people like saying, no, for real, like I came back to see you twice because it was so like, and it's like, it's pretty amazing to me that 25 year, and like you mentioned, still not getting any 20 years, and it's also the 25th year of the band. In 2024, we started out in 1999, so it's a huge milestone for us. But what blows my mind is that still today, when we talk to fans, whatever it's like, when we meet them or meet and greets, or even just on the street around the gig or online on the on socials, it's amazing how many people are seeing us for the first time, and they've been listening for 20 years, 15 years, 10 years, whatever it is, and they've never had a chance to come to a show, whether it's because, I don't know, they live too far, they didn't have the money, their parents wouldn't let them go, whatever it is, or they just waited and just it didn't work. And now 25 years into our band, we still have the opportunity, the privilege to make a first impression on people. It's not just like, oh, I'm gonna go see them again. It's like, no, this is my first time, and the excitement that comes from that. Like when we ask people to raise their hands, like, is it your first time seeing us? It's crazy. It's like 70% of the crowd, it's their first time. So you think of the potential of like how many people have not seen this band play yet, and we get to like play for them for the first time, and hopefully they come to the show, they have a great time, they get hooked, they come back, and then that's how you build, that's how you keep going as a band, and you keep it fun because you have new fans that are discovering you. It's not, you're not just playing to the same, whatever X number of people that are always coming back, which by the way, I truly appreciate. Like that's the core, the people that keep coming back. Like we have two girls today that are coming to the show in London. It's their 100th show each. They're twins, and they've come to 100 shows. And we met this girl yesterday. She's told us that she's been to every single UK show we have ever performed. So this is the core, and I'm not trying to say that we obviously, this is like, that these are the people that like the true hardcore that are like, and that's incredible, and we value that so much. Like that, the fact that you can retain these fans tells you a lot about our fans, and also about hopefully like our longevity and all that, and people still feeling like when they come to a show they have a great time. But the key is also to, like you were saying, like all these new people that because of streaming they can become a fan in one day. Like they see something on TikTok or they see like an Instagram reel, and like, oh, I heard of this band, like let me check them out. And then they go down this rabbit hole of our 6 albums, and then one day they can be like, I love this band now, and it's so powerful. And we have really embraced it and leaned into it, and we really we put out a lot of content, and we feel like we see so much positive coming from that. So many people are discovering the band now, and young people, and it's so funny. Like, sometimes they're like, we hear like, oh yeah, like my parents used to love you guys, or my parents love you guys, and you're like, oh my god, wait a minute, what are you talking about? Like we're not like, yeah, you guys like classic rock, and you're like, oh, like Bowling for Soup would say, how did we become classic rock? But I guess we're here, and we're doing it, and we're having the best time. Yeah, it's a very interesting question. We're kind of we're even inside the band. There's lots of conversations about how to go about it and everything. We definitely still feel like we got some catching up to do since the pandemic. Like we haven't been, like we're going to Brazil in about 2 weeks and it's the first time before the pandemic, and this is like a gigantic festival it's called I Want to Be, with a tour with All American Rejects and Boys Like Girls and A Day to Remember, All Time. Like it's huge, right? Like a really big lineup. So we still hadn't been to Brazil since 2017 or 18. So, and then we're going to Australia, first time since 2019. So we still have some touring to do to catch up. I think we still want to go out and play lots of gigs, but definitely the question is coming up. Like, even though the record feels like it was done yesterday in lots of ways, like it did come out in 2022. So it's going to be 2 years pretty soon. It really does not feel like it's been 2 years. It feels very fresh and recent for us. But at the same time, it's time to think about new music and what kind of format, how that's going to go. We're not sure yet. There's one thing that we know is that, like I told you earlier, like, this is the 25th year of the band. It's a big milestone. So we want to celebrate in lots of ways, and in sort of two ways, right? One way of like embracing the past and kind of celebrating the past and being very proud of that. So kind of looking back and having all these kind of like retrospective kind of events that we're going to do, and kind of special project that we want to do. I can't really talk about it too much, but there's definitely lots of stuff in the works already. And then there's looking to the future and having new music. And I think the ultimate way that we could do it this year is to combine the two ideas. It's kind of like maybe there's a way to look back on everything we've done, but also have new music attached to that and keep going forward. So we can be a band that has, that's not just about the past. Like, we never want to be that kind of band that just like plays albums, shows, and that's all they do. And like I think we're very aware that people love, I'd do anything, I'm just a kid, and welcome to my life, and that's fantastic. And we'll never be the kind of band that stops playing their biggest songs. Like, we love the fact that we have these big songs, but at the same time, we don't want to fall into that trap of just being that kind of band. So yes, new energy, new creative music, like new material is definitely in the works. And I don't know what format it's going to be. Like, is it going to be an album? It's going to be like a few songs more often? I don't know yet, but we're definitely in that conversation right now.